Welcome to another scriptural study. In this scriptural calendar and astronomical study, we have been asked to focus on what is known as the mechanics of the moon at dawn. Yes, known as first light. What are the mechanics of the moon with the sun and stars? As always, please stop this video at any time to further focus on the scriptural and astronomical details being shared. Once again, the celestial clock and calendar of Yahuwah is based on 3 witnesses of light, not just one. So as always, even though we are focusing on the mechanics of the moon at dawn, we will be sharing that information in relation and association on how the mechanics of the moon operates at the dawn with the sun and the stars. We cover this material in many of our workshops. We have a few coming up in the upcoming weeks, all the way leading up to the appointed times of trumpets. So again, the moon and stars do indeed rule by night, for Yahuwah and his kindness is everlasting. So we're going to focus on the mechanics of the moon right up into that 4th watch. Yes, the dawn, known as first light. Again, in the workshops, it's all about working out your own deliverance. I'm not a teacher. I do not have the abilities to do that. All we do is number our days with all of the available witnesses of light with the sun, moon, and stars. So again, let's go visit that everlasting kindness that Yahuwah provides, because every good gift and every perfect gift is from above, coming down from Yahuwah, the Father of lights, with whom there is no change nor shadow of turning. Why? Because our Almighty One is not an Almighty One of disorder, but of order and peace. And this has been provided to us from the very foundation of the world. So, as we go through this, let's not forget the excellent witnesses of light from the stars. Because at the dawn is when you can see first light, you can see the full moon, and you can see it ruling with the specific stars for those specific months throughout an annual scriptural time period. So again, it has been requested of us to focus in on why is the 4th watch, out of all 4 night watches, so special. Again, you can see the stars at this time period. If you just attempt to forecast New Moon Day based on the sunset time period, midnight time period, or just the sunrise time period, you will rob yourself of some very important witnesses that provide knowledge. So let's get into the mechanics of the moon at the dawn, shall we? And let's focus on this 4th watch. Forecasting is something that is not really needed if you get outside and test and prove all things. But if you don't, it's a great way to learn the mechanics of the moon and how it operates with the sun and the stars on a daily basis. Not just one day for New Moon Day, but every day. And as an intransitive verb, it means to calculate the future. How fitting. As well, we also track when the moon starts being 100% illuminated and when it finishes being 100% illuminated. So our study that we are going to do right now will focus on the 6th new moon that is almost upon us. And New Moon Day this year for the 6th month, everywhere, will be on the pagan day commencing at the dawn, first light, on the pagan day of Tuesday, September 21st, 2021. And once again, that wonderful order, the peace of light, will provide 10 hours and 22 minutes of fully illuminated light for everyone on earth. Yes, it starts and finishes at different times, but the total time equates and provides that equitable light to everyone in the same manner all over earth. Yes, every good gift and every perfect gift is indeed from above. So as we go through this forecast, we're going to expand this forecast beyond 2 days before New Moon Day, New Moon Day itself, and the day after New Moon Day, because we do indeed number all of our days, not just for New Moon Day, but for all of our days. So let's take a look at a sample. So yes, Bereans striving to become noble do not just number one day or provide information for one day, such as New Moon Day. They provide information for each and every day because we're numbering our days, not one day. So in this spreadsheet, as you can see, in this row, we capture each day of every year, the dawn time period. We do this for sunrise, sunset, and midnight as well, but for this particular study, we're focusing on the fourth watch, the dawn first light. And as we can see, each day is forecasted out for the months in question. And as we can see on this spreadsheet, we have 3 days before New Moon Day, from the fourth month, the final 3 days of the fourth month, into New Moon Day on the fifth month. And at the dawn at 4:41 a.m. in my area, the moon was 100% illuminated. And commencing at the dawn, New Moon Day was this year on the pagan day of Sunday, August 22nd. Again, everywhere. And notice the moon, we record the percent illumination and the position, whether it's below the horizon and or above the horizon. And as you can see, this pattern exists every month if you're looking at the dawn. Again, we do this same sample for sunrise, sunset, and even midnight because we want to learn the mechanics of the moon. So in this case, this spreadsheet is looking at the mechanics of the moon at the dawn, the commencement of the fourth watch, first light. So as you can see, 3 days before New Moon Day in this view, you will see the moon is below the horizon on that final third day. The final second day of the fourth month is still below. And then the last day of the fourth month, it peaks its head above the horizon. And then the following day is New Moon Day. This is a pattern for this view. And most people that do not number their days, including the dawn witness or the mechanics of the moon at dawn with the stars and the sun, miss this wonderful pattern because the day before New Moon Day, the moon pops its head, so to speak, above the horizon, giving you a further witness that the next day will indeed be New Moon Day. And notice it was on the fifth month that just passed, 100% illuminated. So a great pattern. So I'll show and share where this information comes from in a second, but as you can see, we number every day. And after New Moon Day, the moon at the dawn is at a higher location above the horizon. And there's its percent illumination for each of those days. And as you can see, we get to the middle of the month. It goes below the horizon. And then it rises again. Notice again, the day before New Moon Day, it peaks its head above the horizon. And this is the New Moon Day that is upon us, the sixth new moon, which will commence on the pagan day of Tuesday, September 21, at the dawn. And again, notice the day before, it peaks its head for the first time above the horizon, and the following day is New Moon Day. Again, the highest percent illumination for that particular time period in that month. Another witness, and why we track the start of a full moon. It's 100% illumination, starting time period, all the way to its end. Very important. Another witness. Again, we do this view for sunset, midnight, and even sunrise. But the dawn is a little more special because you can see the stars at this time with the moon ruling with the stars for those specific patterns for each and every month. So again, new moon day that is upon us will commence at the dawn on the pagan day of Tuesday, September 21st, and the moon will be at its highest illuminated point, as it should be. And as you can see, we carry on past the 6th month every day and follow the understanding of the mechanics of the moon at the dawn. Again, we do this same sample for sunset, midnight, and even sunrise. But look at the new moon day, which is for the 7th month, trumpets, which will commence at the dawn on the pagan day of Wednesday, October 20th. Look at the day before new moon day. The moon peeks its head once again above the horizon, just like Dawood knew, David the shepherd. He knew why the next day would be new moon day. He had many witnesses, and the mechanics of the moon at dawn was one of them. He knew why the next day would be new moon day. And as we can see here, the moon will be at its highest point of illumination, 100% illuminated, on trumpets for this particular 7th month that is upon us in this annual cycle. So now you know why this is only a summary forecast, which provides 2 days before new moon day itself, and then the day after new moon day. This small summary comes from the master summary, as we would call it, highlighting each and every day. So, this forecast, please allow me to explain where and how we record this data. Because the data points for the dawn, and as I explained earlier, we do the very same view for sunset, midnight, and yes, sunrise. But in this case, for the dawn, or first light, we get this information from a program called WLC, which I'll highlight in a second. And it provides this information, or the times, for the dawn. The reason I use WLC and then another program, such as timeanddate.com, is because I am testing and proving accuracy of man's programs. Now remember, man can only provide this information because of the reliability and or order that Yahuwah provides with lights. Man is not creating anything here. They're just monitoring and measuring the light. Yes, those perfect gifts from above. Okay then, here is the WLC website that provides some great information in regards to capturing the sun activity and the moon activity for all time periods. For the dawn, for sunrise, dusk, sunset, and yes, the moon at moonrise and moonset. And so you plug in the location where you're from, and this is an older version. The newer versions, I believe, are not as effective, but this is the one I use. And then you go to the time period that you're looking to look at. So here's the 19th as an example of the pagan day, Sunday, September 19th. And as you can see, if you move the moon, it gives you the percent effective. And when I say percent effective, that means the percent illumination, as you can see. And here's how we know the start of a full moon at 100% illumination. There it is right there, boom. And when it'll finish. Very easy to track. And as you can see, there it is. It finishes right at that time period. So this is where we get this information, and we track it accordingly. This site is only a lunar solar site. It's conjunction, regrettably, and it ignores the witness of the stars. So very problematic, as you see many of the conjunction sites, let alone crescent sites. They constantly are upgrading and correcting their forecasts. When they go outside, they know they make a mistake. So again, I only use this particular tool because everything is in one view. So very effective. I then take this site, and as a Berean, I test and prove always with 2 or 3, and yes, even more witnesses, to ensure that my forecast is as accurate as possible. And here is a secondary program called timeanddate.com. All you do is go to the sun and moon, sun calculator, there it is under that column. You type in the location of where you live and type in the date that you're looking for. And as you can see, it provides sunrise, sunset. There's the dawn right there, astronomical twilight. And you plug in those time periods. That's where we get this information. So another excellent program providing other information and an excellent test and prove process to ensure accuracy. And if you do see a discrepancy, it allows you to question further. Again, you want your forecast to be as accurate as possible so that when you do go outside and test and prove that forecast, you know where to look in advance and you're not wasting any time. Again, peace and order. And now to answer the question on where we get the information for the degrees to the horizon, either below the horizon or the degrees of the moon above the horizon for each and every day, let alone in this column highlighted in red, where do we get the degrees of the moon as it relates to its position to true north, like on a compass or an azimuth? So the program we use is a program called mooncalc.org, and we verify this same information with other programs as it relates to a Berean 2 or 3, and yes, even more witness approach. So here is that program, mooncalc.org. And all you have to do is plug in your location, and you can plug it right down into the actual postal code or zip code from wherever you live. And then, as an example, today, as I am finishing narrating this video, the dawn time period was 5:18. So you move this little moon piece right here to that time. And as we can see, 5:18 was the dawn. Again, I do this for sunset, midnight, sunrise. But as I said earlier, the dawn is a little more special because all three witnesses of light, which includes the stars, can be seen. And thus you're not robbing yourself of the fourth night watch, commencing at dawn, first light. So here we are at 5:18. And today, the moon itself was below the horizon, minus 46.88 degrees. So there it is. And if you want to go ahead, it'll tell you where it'll be. And you'll see that number change on the side. So where was it at the dawn today in regards to the position to the azimuth or true north? True north. Again, where is that? So let's go back to 5:18 here. And as you can see, it was 277.82 degrees to true north. True north on a compass, or what is known as an azimuth, is the 0 degree mark. East, right here, east is known as a 90 degree mark. South is known as the 180 degree mark. And west is known as the 270 degree mark. So anybody can use this program, and as you can see, wherever you go to visualize, test and prove the forecast, if you will, outside, so that you can reason with other people with actual evidence and not just guess with an opinion, you can actually go outside and test and prove this. And you can use this visual. You can copy and paste this information and share it with someone. Let alone get outside with your camera and film and photograph what the moon is doing with the stars and the sun at dawn for this particular study. Again, I want to drive the point home. Do this again for sunset, midnight, and even sunrise. As great as the dawn information is, you get more witnesses to further secure new moon day, and each and every other day, those celestial patterns that repeat themselves day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year for those specific months. So anyways, this is mooncalc.org, and as you can see, you can test and prove this information and compare it with other programs. You'll also notice it provides percent illumination for the moon and moonrise times and moonset times. So again, I use well more than one program. I'm a Berean who is striving to become noble. And as such, to rightly handle the word of truth, I utilize all the witnesses of light. I don't allow myself to be imprisoned in a paradigm of a man-made belief or an institution. So again, great tool. It's there for you to use. Workshops go over this tool, and then we test and prove the information out in creation. So as we can see in this sample of 37 days, which includes the new moon day of the 5th month and includes the new moon day, which is soon upon us, of the 6th month, we see with the pattern of looking at the mechanics of the moon at the dawn that the day before new moon day, it rises above the horizon and gives us that further witness that the next day will be new moon day. And as we can see by the percentage and illumination of light, that following day will be the highest percent of illumination. Again, a very excellent witness. So, just don't use this witness. Please do the same view for sunset, midnight, and yes, sunrise. They provide other witnesses that help you further lock and load without any doubt when the true new moon day is. Because when you use all the new and available witnesses of light, you'll be in a position like Dawood when he said to Yahukanan, "See, tomorrow is the new moon day." When you use all of the witnesses of light and not just one approach, like some do, stating sunrise is the only time, you rob yourselves of all of the knowledge that all of the witnesses of lights provide. Why do that to yourself? Why follow any man, person, including me? It's Yahuwah who teaches us to number our days, not one day, but all days, to bring our heart to wisdom. So again, this is only one sample. We do this for the whole year. If you're interested in further knowing how to do this, we do many workshops in this subject matter, as everyone knows, because we are still only students and not teachers, because we're still learning these laws. And thus why we do the approach of 4 night watches with the 3 witnesses of light, to understand those patterns. Yes, the term or word laws in the Hebrew language is about fixed patterns that were set at the foundation of our world, because the heavens are proclaiming the esteem of the Almighty One, and the expanse is declaring the work of His hand. Don't let anybody else try to remove you from these basic things that you personally can test and prove in creation. Again, when you get into the words of testing and proving, and what the word means for being noble, it's all about discernment. It's all about doing the work and not removing or taking anything away. So we covered this in a previous study video in the last couple of weeks, and this is why we always respond to all of our emails, YouTube posts, and our other communication platforms in the following manner. Thanking those Bereans who help each and every one of us, encourage each and every one of us to rightly handle the word of truth, so that we can eventually do our utmost to present ourselves approved to the Almighty Father of Lights. So again, we covered that word etymological study in this scriptural study video if you are interested. Because when you attempt to further become noble as a Berean in the art of discerning, scriptural discernment, you are attempting then to learn how to reason together. So in Yeshayahu chapter 1, verse 18, it gives us from the Strong's entry, 3198. What does it mean to reason together to come to the conclusion on how to properly number our days? Well, you need witnesses. And why people don't use and utilize all of the witnesses of light, again, to a person like me, it's beyond me, actually. So when you get into the word reason, it means to prove, to decide, make a decision, to judge, rebuke, reprove, correct, and be right. And the only way you can be right in anything in this life is with evidence. And you're not trying to be right personally, you're attempting to find out what is right. So again, pride is more concerned with who is right versus, or as compared to, what is right. Humility is more concerned with what is right. And this is what it means to properly, from a scriptural standpoint, reason, or to YAHsome. So let's get into this a little bit further, because when you look at this H3198 entry, you will also see in the paleopictographic the picture of a palm of the hand and a picture of a wall, which means to correct or chastise with a firm hand. But you can only do that if you have evidence. So at the end of the day, don't rob yourself, and more importantly, let anyone else rob yourself of all of the witnesses of light and how they help. So please learn this piece of it as well, as best you can, here and now. So we cover something else in another scriptural study video, and people are asking, hey, why aren't you on Facebook? Well, please, if you are interested, take the time to find out why we came off Facebook in this scriptural study video. Because if you're going to reason together with the sun, moon, and stars, and how they work together as one to tell time, you can't get it done on Facebook. Why? Well, here are some simple general Facebook stats. 1. The optimal length of a Facebook post is 40 characters. That's what everybody likes, quote, likes, on Facebook. 2. Human attention span on Facebook is around 8 seconds. How do you explain or reason together in 8 seconds about the sun, moon, and stars? You can't even do that with a second hand, minute hand, or an hour hand on a wristwatch. Number 3, people are 5 times more likely to watch videos daily. Why? Well, they explain things. They place you in a position where you can reason together. Now, I'm not saying not to use Facebook, but if you're going to reason together, Facebook is not the platform. It just doesn't provide the time or the components. It usually comes with one visual, maybe a scriptural passage, and then someone's comments or one individual's comments. And number 4, it is a fact from Facebook on their analytics that 43% of their users would like to see more videos. Now you know why we left Facebook. Facebook is not an effective tool to do studies, full, complete scriptural studies in words, names, and the law, which includes the calendar. Again, for the record, we are not telling anyone to come off of Facebook, but at the end of the day, if you're truly sincere about reasoning together as it relates to the sun, moon, and stars as a celestial clock and calendar, then please pick the proper communication platforms to get the job done to rightly handle the word of truth. As well, get away from the communication platforms. And this is why we offer workshops in this subject matter, let alone with a proposed scriptural study format. Because you've got to work out your own deliverance, just like I do. You can't trust me. You can't trust any person or any world religious institution or government for that fact. At the end of the day, when it comes to scripture and your deliverance, you have to work it out yourself. And this is why we have workshops, because we get to test and prove everything. In the case of a celestial clock and calendar of Yahuwah, first from a forecast, and then we get outside in creation to test and prove that forecast, because the moon and stars do indeed rule by night. And we know for a fact that the Father of lights, yes, Yahuwah himself, made the moon for appointed times, and the sun knows it's going down. So we look at this information with all 4 night watches. And in this particular scriptural study, we were asked to focus on the mechanics of the moon at the dawn. And yes, there are specific stars for each new moon day at the dawn, helping to further witness each and every new moon day. So if a workshop is something of interest to you, there are other Bereans that assemble together, both online and outside under the Shamayim in creation, to further learn those fixed patterns, those ordinances which have been set to rule over the earth. If you do a scriptural study on the word laws, as of Job chapter 38, verse 33, the Strong's entry is H2708, and in some translations it's known as ordinances. If you get into it further, these ordinances are known as chukah, or kuka, as some people actually pronounce it. And the definition is something prescribed. The NSAB exhaustive concordance gives the definitions of a fixed order or fixed patterns that are statutory, appointed. So when you look at this even closer using studylight.org, it talks about the enactment, something prescribed, a statute, an ordinance. If you go farther into the etymology, you start to learn the root words of laws, which to cut out, a decree, to inscribe, to set, to engrave, portray, or govern. Further etymological evidence shows to trace, mark out, to inscribe, enact a decree. One who decrees, lawgiver. Yes, that's the Father of lights. He's the lawgiver. Those laws in the heavens are fixed patterns. So again, getting into the Paleo-Hebrew and the pictographic, the word laws is further defined as a picture of a wall representing a separation, which is a picture of the sun at the horizon, at the dawn, first light, representing the idea of all of the 3 witnesses of light coming together. So very, very interesting etymological evidence that further supports the astronomical evidence, let alone the scriptural evidence of numbering our days with the writings of Moshe, yes, Jubilees, the book of Hanok, and on it goes. So again, if you get into the theological word book of the Old Testament under entry 728, the sun, moon, and stars are engraved like something engraved into stone that you can't change because they were given to us from the foundation of the world. We cover all of this in the workshops, and the neat thing about assembling together with people outside in creation, when you're allowing Yahuwah to teach you, you learn more things because other people that are assembling together may notice something that you may not. And that's where the growth and exponential learning starts to happen when you assemble. When people assemble together, 2 or 3 or more, under the name or with the name of Yahuwah and his Son, the Messiah, the Mashiach, the Anointed One of Yah, Yahushua. Yes, the Messiah himself. When we gather under that name and the Father's name, that's where they will be. So it's a wonderful thing. We have workshops coming up all the way up to the 7th month. Please feel free to reach out to us at family1@rogers.com if this is something you're interested in participating in. So again, if you're new at this, no problem. If you're intermediate at this, no problem. If you have some experience and been doing this for 5, 10, 15, or 20 years, then your gleanings will be of value to others. So you are more than welcome as well. So, as always, we call upon the name of Yahuwah that these scriptural studies provide value to you and your loved ones. Until next time, may the Messiah Yahushua be in everything we all say and do. Have a YAHsome day, everyone.